The day you finally ghost the avoidant, you think you're losing power. You're not. You're about to see who they really are. Because avoidants don't panic when you chase them. They panic when you stop. And what happens next will tell you everything you need to know. Let's be clear. When you were chasing, texting first, checking in, explaining, softening, you were regulating the relationship. You were stabilizing their discomfort with closeness. That's why the dynamic worked. Not because it was healthy, because you were compensating. The second you disappear, the emotional scaffolding disappears with you, and their nervous system has to stand on its own. That's when the following specific phases begin. This is the part nobody tells you. At first, they feel relieved. Avoidant nervous systems associate increasing closeness with pressure, obligation, loss of autonomy. So when you go quiet, their body relaxes. Less expectation, less intensity, less emotional demand. They tell themselves, it was getting too much. This is better. I needed space anyway. This is deactivation. Their brain reduces attachment activation by minimizing the bond. But relief is only surface level. It doesn't last. Once the silence stretches past what they expected, something shifts. Avoidants still want to feel chosen. They just don't want to feel engulfed. When you disappear, their ego gets hit. Not their heart first, their ego. Because now, they're not in control of the distance. They didn't pull away, you did. That unpredictability activates anxiety. They won't show it. Instead, they rationalise. They'll come back. They always do. It wasn't that serious. This is cognitive downregulation. The mind rewriting the story to avoid vulnerability. But underneath, curiosity starts building. This is where most people get fooled. The hey, the random meme, the hope you're good. It looks casual, but it's not. It's a nervous system probe. They're asking one question. Are you still available without me changing? Breadcrumbing is low-risk reconnection. Minimal vulnerability, maximum information gathering. If you respond with warmth and immediate availability, the old dynamic snaps back into place because the threat is gone. If you don't, now that's when things get interesting. If the breadcrumbs don't restore control, some avoidants escalate. You'll see sudden intensity, more attention, unexpected depth, even future talk. And this is where people think, they finally realised my value. Not necessarily. Psychologically, what's happening is attachment activation mixed with ego threat. You became scarce. Scarcity increases perceived value, especially for someone who avoids emotional accountability. But here's the key. Escalation driven by anxiety is not the same as emotional growth. If nothing has changed in their capacity for intimacy, the cycle will reset once stability returns. Intensity does not equal transformation. Other avoidants go in the opposite direction. They shut down completely. No escalation, no drama, no reaction. Just disappearance. This isn't indifference, it's a defense strategy. When attachment feels overwhelming and control feels lost, some avoidant systems cope through suppression and compartmentalization. Out of sight, out of mind. Numb it. Seal it. They convince themselves they're unaffected, and sometimes they really believe it, until months later, because suppressed attachment doesn't disappear, it delays. Now this is the part that most creators skip. Not all avoidants respond the same way. The outcome depends on how emotionally invested they were, how much ego validation they were receiving from you, whether they have secondary anxious traits, how accustomed they are to partners chasing them, and whether they sense you are truly done. If they believe you're bluffing, breadcrumb loop. If they sense genuine detachment, that's when real attachment activation begins. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes nothing dramatic happens, and that silence tells you more than any reaction ever could. The mistake that you're most likely to make is that you'll monitor. You'll analyse their stories, their activity, their timing. You'll interpret silence as strategy, and you'll be tempted to break first. Because when you stop chasing, your nervous system activates too. If you lean anxious, silence feels like a threat. So understand this. Ghosting them doesn't automatically give you power. Regulating yourself does. If you disappear but obsess internally, the dynamic still owns you. Here's the part that stings. When you ghost an avoidant, you're not testing them. You're confronting yourself. You're asking, can I tolerate not being chosen? Can I tolerate not knowing? Can I tolerate the loss of control? Because control through pursuit is still control. Letting go is different. And once you truly let go, something changes. You stop caring what phase they're in. You stop analysing their psychology. You stop trying to trigger a response. And ironically, that's when your energy actually shifts. Not when you ghost, but when you detach. Ghosting an avoidant doesn't guarantee regret. It doesn't guarantee escalation. It doesn't guarantee reunion. It guarantees exposure. Exposure of their capacity, exposure of your attachment style, and exposure of the imbalance. If the only time they move towards you is when you withdraw, that's not compatibility, that's reactivity. And you deserve more than being someone's nervous system stimulus. You deserve someone who can move towards you without needing to be threatened first.